Hey, how's everyone going? April 24th, 2020. So, give you the kind of Friday update of what's going on. Let me get my laptop configured here a little bit. All right, so just kind of want to start off with kind of update where things are at. So, PPP money was dropped into the bank on Wednesday, so that's when the clock starts on our payroll. So our strategy, just to kind of remind everyone, the strategy on that is we had payday today for 2 staff. So, PPP, the money has to be expended during the 8 weeks of PPP. So we have a payroll today that was for 2 staff members for the last 2 weeks. So those hours will go into our calculation, and then that payroll from today will go into our calculation for forgiveness on PPP. That gives us 3 payrolls to finish up our PPP forgiveness and to hit our FTE hours. So we have 15 FTEs we have to hit over the 8 weeks, and about a good chunk. I shouldn't give out all the payroll numbers. I'm not going to, but so basically, we have to, over the 2 months, we have to expend $117,500 is what we decided to take for the PPP. That brings back about 20. I think that's about 22 employees. Of those 22 employees, I think 16 are taking unemployment. So we're pulling 16 people off of unemployment and bringing them back on our payroll, which is it's a good thing. And continue retirement. So the PPP, when we bring them back on, the retirement, those taking health insurance with us, we were paying health insurance anyway, no matter if they were going to be on unemployment or not. We were just going to pay that. Didn't matter if they were working for us physically, they're laid off from this. So retirement, so everything returns to normal on payroll. So I've updated the spreadsheet I have for planning this out, and we should be able to hit. We're going to be hitting about 85% of that PPP money on payroll and benefits. So that's really good. So we're able to give some additional part-time people some additional hours on this. So just trying to strategically think. I mean, unfortunately, we just could not bring back everybody because it just wouldn't be fair to bring back people and then have to let some of them go again, possibly. You just don't know, possibly at the end of June. So we have a plan in place. We'll kind of report on how that plan is moving forward. But like I said, we're bringing people off of the unemployment rolls. Yeah, granted, the government's still paying for them, but at least they're off of that, and we get them back on the team. So that's going with that. Idle still haven't heard anything. We're expecting to hear end of this week or first part of next week on that. So Idle did drop us $10,000 in the bank last week. So now we're in this weird limbo of the $10,000 probably should have came off the PPP component because it's kind of a grant. So sounds like Congress or the SBA, Treasury, or whoever it is trying to work out, how this works. So we have the $10,000 advance that came from Idle. That is either going to turn, that's not a grant because we got the PPP. This is confusing. So my guess is when we get the forgiveness, what we think is going to happen when we apply for the forgiveness on the PPP, that $10,000 advance from Idle will need to be repaid back at that time. So that's what we're kind of planning on, is to pay, just store that off to the side, and then we'll pay that, just dump that back to the feds when we get our forgiveness done. And then the Idle money, when that comes through, we'll take up to $200,000 of that. I think we're entitled to a lot more. But over, remember, this is a loan. This is not a grant. This is a loan. So, and for working capital. So we're going to take up to $200,000 if they offer more than that. We'll take up to $200,000 because it does not need to be personally guaranteed. That way, if this virus comes back or virus 2 comes out or mutation happens and we shut down again for 2-3 months, we have this capital that we can sit and leverage. We're also going to, the money, we're going to try to replenish our $60,000 of emergency fund that we burned already. And if sales are strong, if we get back open and we start having strong sales, and then we can replenish the things. That's kind of where we're at with those. So things are looking up. I'm still not sleeping the best, but that's at least we're getting there. I also want to, before I get into kind of the store things, how we're going to get back open, I kind of want to do a quick shout out. A lot of people are giving shout outs to, medical and nursing homes and stuff like that. And that's great. I think that they're going to see some stresses too, because, without the elective procedures going on and other stuff, there's some financial stresses in the medical fields. And I just really feel the worst for the people that are living in these nursing homes and can't see family, and the staff are stressed because they don't want to get infected and bring it in. They don't want to be the ones that, and shout out to them. But I think there's a shout out that people are really missing. And it's for business owners like us and other people that we're closed. We're doing online sales and stuff, but there's businesses that are closed. It's their sole livelihood, and they're making a huge sacrifice to try to do what they can do to stay open and do what they can to survive. I think I was hearing on WHO radio the other day that the Restaurant Association or the Economic Development people were talking that they're giving numbers about restaurants, and they were expecting, as of right now, that 10% of restaurants in this state of Iowa will not reopen because of this. And most of those are mom and pops. They aren't the McDonald's, they aren't the Arby's, they aren't the Chick-fil-A's. They're your mom and pop restaurant that just can't. You got the one restaurant in the small town, and they just won't reopen. And so, we really gotta support local and get these people back, because they're heroes too. I mean, just look at like the tattoo parlors. That's a good business that goes on, and they can't operate. Or people that cut hair, they just can't operate. Or they got to operate in the black market. You got to, they do favors for people and stuff like that, and that happens. We can deny it all we want, but if I was a hair cutter, and I'm getting my soapbox now. If I was a hair cutter, even though I need a haircut, if I was someone that cut hair, I'd be cutting hair on the side at people's houses, and you got to make money. And so these people, they care, and they're going to take whatever precautions they can. And so that's kind of my shout out to these small business owners that are really sacrificing their livelihood, going through the stresses of, laying people off, stresses of trying to figure out how to reopen, stresses of trying to get PPP. That's stressful, idle. So let's shout out to them. Okay, so enough of that. But we've just on a really positive note, me and I have a friend of mine that comes up, that we have this thing we started before this whole virus thing. It's called Thirsty Thursdays, and we would go play cards on Thursday afternoons at local pub, and it hasn't stopped. We're not playing cards anymore because we don't want to touch things, but we're still getting together Thursday afternoons, and that's really nice to just have some beers, sit around and talk. We've discovered a lot more about just things we've had in common since we've been friends since elementary school, and it's funny how you just don't run out of things to talk about. Maybe Amy thinks this is the dumbest stuff to talk about. We're making a connection between, Dirty Dancing, a song that's in Dirty Dancing, and then making the connection back to a song that Motley Crue did, right? So I know it's dumb, it's useless knowledge, but as his friend says, it's still knowledge. Okay, so let's kind of talk about getting things back open. So today I'm going to work on a list of things that we need to have staff start getting together. So since we're going to have staff pulled back Monday, even though they're not going to physically come in the store necessarily, we still are going to have some tasks for people they can maybe do at home, or they may come into the store to do a little work. Stores are in pretty good shape. They're clean. Maintenance is all done. Inventory is all caught up. So we're ready to start rolling. So opening back up, We're talking, we got to have masks for everybody because I think that the state, when we open these small businesses back up, that staff are going to need to wear masks, and that's fine. I think that that'll go for a month or two. We've had an employee that I believe she's making masks for everybody, and that's great during her time off, and appreciate that. And so we'll have masks to wear for staff that are there. Extra contact touch cleaning. We're going to start, the keypads. People can pay by phone in our store, things like that. We're going to try to make sure that things people touch, door handles, make sure those get cleaned. Not sure how we're going to get all those cleaned yet because spray disinfectant is non-existent anywhere. I got orders out there that are just not going to get fulfilled. They just don't exist. I don't know where this stuff is hiding, but aerosol disinfectant is just impossible to find. So I was reading yesterday on how to, what kills these viruses, and there's some studies. It's just a virus, so there's normal things. It was talking isopropyl alcohol is like a contact time of like 20 to 30 seconds. It's dead. So we might try to get our hands on some stuff like that. Maybe we'll just buy a bunch of vodka and you just spray it and put it in a mister bottle and spray it around. That could be a solution. So we'll see. So extra contact touch cleaning. Not gloves. We're not going to wear gloves. Gloves it gives you a false sense of safety, because if you don't put gloves on right or take them off right, they're full of contaminants for what we do. So just hand washing, make sure we got hand sanitizer around. When we start taking consignment, we're probably going to end up doing pick up at curb consignment, just to keep limit to the number of people that come in the store. So they'll just drop off and we'll bring it inside, and then we're going to let the consignment actually sit for 24 hours, just as make people feel better, and before we start really processing it. So we'll take it, set it off, and go. And then anything we don't take, we'll just have the consignor come pick it back up. They can come inside and pick it up, or they can just pull up and we'll take it out there. So there's going to be a lot of this jockeying of inventory around that just is not cost effective to do, but it's cost effective because we got to stay open and people need clothes. We're probably going to limit our shopping, kind of like they do at like Fairway and Walmart and stuff, where we really like it that if you're going to come shop, at least this is for like the first month, May, June, this is what I'm talking about. For the first month, limit the shopping to 1 or 2 adults per, quote, shopping unit. Try not to bring your kids in. I mean, I know there's situations where that's just not the case, and that's fine. But we expect everyone to be reasonable, polite, and do what's right for them and do what's right for everyone else. So that's all I'm asking for. And that's what we're going to expect from people is that when they come shop with us, that for the short term here, they just do it all the time, I guess, but short term, just do what's right. So we're going to do that. I should say we're going to do that. Amy and I are going to talk about these, and she'll talk to managers and stuff and see what we're going to implement. But I think these are all pretty good guidelines from the stuff I've been reading. Really talking, there's a debate about extending hours or not extending hours. So is having limited hours better, or is having expanded hours better? Since we're paying people through the PPP, I'm under the assumption that expanded store hours are the way to go. And here's why I say that. You can promote to people that instead of being 10 to 7, maybe we be 8 to 8. And the reason for that is you can promote people to come in at very particular times of the day. Like, hey, we're opening extra early at 8 a.m. so we can spread out the people that want to shop with us. Since our payroll's being covered by the PPP, we can stretch the payroll out. Plus, we can have less staff in the store at the same time. Whereas you can adjust it down. I just have this fear in some industries that if you can adjust it down, you're going to have just more people in there. So I'm going to advocate for extended hours to reduce congestion. We'll see how that works when all this is said and done. So we can leverage our employees. Now we're kind of look ahead to, I don't have anything on my list for July and August. Okay. But speaking of July and August timeframe, masks, my guess is masks will probably be gone. We're still going to continue hand sanitizer. We've always had it out on the stuff. Hand sanitizer. We're probably still going to deal with, more contact cleaning. I think that's here to stay. And that's good, because not just on COVID, but it's also good for flu and things like that. I think that what you're going to see is, I'm starting to sound like the president, like I know everything. I pretend like I know. As a business owner, to strategically think, you have to look at so many things in order to set a direction, a course. So you get that course set, and you got to be flexible to, as long as you get to your destination, that's all that matters. So I figure contact cleaning will continue long term. I think that's what stopping the flu and other things. I think that you're going to see a reduction of flu. You're going to see a reduction in colds, just because I think people mentally are more conscious of this stuff. So I also honestly think for us, like online shopping, we put a lot of inventory on Duckworth out online. And for our type of store, the Loft is a little different story because it's a higher dollar amount per item generally. But at Duckworth, it's just not cost effective to put a $2 shirt online. We were doing it because people needed stuff. We had time, and we needed to generate sales, and that's why we're doing it. And we'll probably phase out of some of this stuff that we put online, especially from Duckworth, that we'll put less stuff online and just kind of go back to how we were doing things: equipment, higher end items, stuff that would move quickly through an online sale. And so, okay, so I got the shout out to people. I kind of gave them my business plan coming up. This is going to be an extremely long video. For those people that watch this on YouTube, this is my trick that I use, because I don't like listening to people all the time either, the background noise. But you can set the speed to go at 1.5 or 2 times. So instead of sitting there and watching me for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you can just watch it in half the time. I should have done the shout outs earlier on. But anyway, so I think that I'm going to talk, and get this right, like doing this. But I honestly think that the worst is over. I'm going to say probably over, because the worst is over for our business anyway, for small retail. I think that it's darkest before the dawn, and I think we've passed the darkest area, the unknown unknowns, and now we have the known unknowns, right? We know what we don't know, and so we just have to navigate those known unknowns. So I'm just starting to ramble, but let's navigate those. I think the worst over for retail. I think the wall is going to hit for some other things coming up here. I know ag is probably going to see some hits that are a little delayed. Medical is going to see some hits that are further delayed. I think universities, colleges are, their impact, because tuition's paid for the semester, but who knows what this is going to mean for like colleges, universities. I think about this town. What does that mean for like Iowa State University? A Loft, there's a lot of students that shop with us, and if all of a sudden 2,000 or 3,000 students don't show, reduced next year because of this, or I would say just decide to cancel for some reason, that's going to play a ripple effect across the town. So these are our known unknowns, right? So we know that there are things that could happen, but at least are out there, and that's why we're taking idle money, just in case we got to slow down, that we know we're going to come out of it, that we can expense some money, keep it afloat, and as long as it's reasonable for my life goals, for Amy's life goals, our business's life goals, we'll keep doing what we're doing. The last thing I want to do is throw $1 million at something that you'll never get a return on. You might as well have kept the $1 million. And that sounds cruel, but that's just, I'm not saying it's $1 million we're throwing in. I'm just giving you an example, right? Some people, it's chump change. Reminds me of the time I was in Vegas and sitting there playing, it was $10 blackjack, and the guy sat down next to us and he dropped, it was like $1,000, just one hand, right? Lost 3 times and just got up and left. It's like, he showed back up. Like about 30 minutes later, he dropped another couple grand, lost, and just disappeared. It's like, to him that was probably nothing. Man, I lose $5 and I'm enough of it. Oh, I'm getting way off topic, knowing a lot more about me. All right, so we're 20 minutes in. Here's kind of where we're at. I'll share next Monday, once we get our list finalized, what we're doing. I'll kind of share that out in the post, and we'll do a real short post on Monday or Tuesday next week. So, okay. I'll catch everyone later.